So the last session, you guys escaped. Well, you had already escaped the road, but you continued. You evaded pursuit and search parties through sleeping in hidden places. You arrived at Crusader Outpost, where you had intended simply to lay low for a while and figure out your next move, and conveniently encountered, or actually, technically, you guys never encountered, but there was a...
We encountered them, they didn't encounter us.
There was a duo of treasure hunters, explorers. It was never really
scavengers.
Mostly
your interaction.
grave robbers, treasure hunters.
Who were looting Crusader Outpost for its goods. And the dwarven bard, Ragnar Ragnarsson, that you had rescued.
What a guy.
Daring.
Ragnarok. Yeah.
Your daring combat the road west of Balnea Farms.
Suicide of combat, yes, I remember.
Was able to negotiate passage with them to safety. So they flew off with him, and left you broadly free to continue your mission, albeit in somewhat more hostile terrain. Basically, there's definitely what's
T-Rexes here.
Analogy.
I've awoken suspicion.
Yeah, exactly. The guards are now like on alert. You got like a star.
They got a little exclamation mark above their heads.
It's
turning red.
You got some stars. Like yeah. It's they're slowly figuring it out.
But they'll run that off though. That runs off pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. So unperturbed by this, or slightly perturbed by this, you decided to reevaluate the order in which you're going to approach your objectives. You figured that it'd probably be safest to do Brill last. So with a little bit of fast travel shenanigans, you made a big loop through the less populated northern Tirisfal, all the way around with the intent of hooking around and going south to Deathnell over the course of, I believe, about a week. Took you
something like that.
Maybe a week and a half. When we ended, you had debated exactly what the best way to approach Deathnell was. We looked up what the Whispering Forest is.
Oh yeah,
Solomon Farmstead and so on. The road, how likely you were to be spotted, and you decided that the Scarlet Palisade was, or rather, you decided that going around the Scarlet Palisade was the best way to approach Deathnell, and it just so happened that it's like the end of the day as you were getting here. So I believe exactly where we left off is somebody, presumably Silas, being the sneaky one, was approaching the Scarlet Palisade to determine what was up there. And the other... it was all in a group? Okay, that's also...
But I don't remember. Plus, you remember describing what the Palisade looks like,
you guys can discuss how exactly you want.
Well, you showed us a picture of the Palisade, so how close are we?
Nearby. Like a few hundred feet away, I guess. It's like dark and stuff, so like no one's seeing you at this point.
It is dark now.
Phase, yeah.
I guess I'll suggest I go ahead just to check.
So just to remind everyone, so as everyone's aware of like the situation, the Solidon Farmstead.
Yeah, Jacko wears heavy armor. You can come. Jacko's too noisy.
The Solidon Farmstead was like a human place before Tirisfal fell to like it's not like an inhabited and not before Tirisfal fell to the Scourge, sorry, but before the Scarlet Crusade fell to whatever it was that ended up dealing with the Scarlet Crusade in the end. I guess just generally people repeatedly running Scarlet Monastery. So the Solidon Farmstead is now like abandoned. The Scarlet Palisade is abandoned. The farmstead is some way out and like destroyed and burned mostly. The Palisade is itself a tower set back behind a fairly high stone wall, which kind of cuts off this corner of Tirisfal Glades a bit. Not actually a palisade wall, despite the fact it's called the Scarlet Palisade. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's actually a reasonably high stone.
Okay.
But yeah, the centerpiece of it is a stone tower, not unlike the Crusader Outpost tower where you were at about a week ago. And you do other stuff.
Sure.
Okay, so both like sneakily walk on up, making sure not to disturb anyone who might be inside.
Mm-hmm.
Both. So wait, but Talia is going as well, right?
No,
I'll just keep an eye on the outsides, make sure we're not followed.
exactly. Make sure we're not what's it called? Fucked over.
Ethan?
Sure.
Do we have like bird calls or something to alert each other?
Definitely,
Ka-cha!
Nice.
definitely not.
So subtle.
Definitely.
But I wouldn't know if it was a bird call or someone doing kung fu. Is the only problem.
Hiya!
Let's do
That's
the Arrested
right.
Development chicken sounds. Pretty good. Ka,
Oink, 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 oink.
Ka-ka-ka-cha. Ka-ka-ka-cha.
Have you ever seen a chicken before?
Okay. Anyway, yeah, we do that, Chris.
Okay, so the group of you approach, well, the pair of you approach
The
while
duo.
Talia keeps watch. Give me investigation checks.
Investigation.
No stealth checks?
No,
Yeah.
I mean I'm just assuming. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, yeah.
Free stuff.
Okay.
Investigation. What the fuck is that one?
Where is that one? That's in
Ooh,
the
plus
intelligence
one.
check.
Nice.
Straight D20. You know what that means?
20.
Oof.
4!
Yeah, 4.
It's not a
Okay.
knowledge check. Come on, guys.
So, let's see. Silas, you, as you draw closer and can see everything a bit better and take in the landscape and the buildings more closely, some of the nature of it starts to stand out to your attentiveness. The tower itself is made of similar stone to the wall, but it's somewhat older and more sort of just a bit degraded. Not structurally unsound at all, but the faces of the outward facing stones are more weather beaten, a little sun bleached.
Who's scrolling their ass off?
Sound like yeah,
I
I
muted
recognize that
myself.
house.
What?
Whereas the wall itself, despite having been built, probably a decade at least ago by the Scarlet Crusade, it's a little more white and polished and kind of smooth stone. The tower was built sometime before that wall was. Possibly the tower has been here since the days when Tirisfal was Lordaeron. Let's think. The door is hanging like on its basically on its hinges. Everything about the tower that is not like stone or very very sturdy has been sort of either damaged by an attack or has just degraded over time and not being maintained. Any metal has rusted, wood has kind of fallen apart. So yeah, while the tower stands structurally sound, things like the banners hanging from the walls are just in tatters and completely unreadable. It seems to all examination to be an abandoned and very old fortification.
Cool. I'll go back and kind of call Talia over. Be like, it looks safe for us to stay the night here. No signs of anyone living here recently.
A lucky break. Let's go.
I guess we can go inside the tower, Chris. It's like Talia gets there.
Yeah.
Structurally sound.
I'll go first.
I mean, you sure?
No, I mean I want to check there's nothing in there before we like spend the night.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Or shizzle.
Is it like a wild animal or some shit?
Just Talia.
Wow.
I am a beast.
Okay. You step inside the tower. Who's leading the way?
Silas. Oh, okay.
I go to the way, but Talia's like me. Let's go. And I'm like, alright, sure.
Okay, it's of course dark inside. The moon is out, but it's being let in through sort of narrow arrow slits and so on up the stairwell that runs the inside of the wall. So there's not like it's low light and there's not a lot of inlets. So you're mostly seeing by silhouettes inside. The interior is just as degraded as the exterior. Furniture is kind of just lying in pieces around the place, either collapsed or scattered about. All the wood is rotted. There's odd, bits of sort of rusted metal lying around. Perhaps the odd coin, a goblet.
Okay, there's a site I'm looking at the 5e player document thing, like for this homebrew shit, and they've changed Rogue by a lot.
Doesn't matter. We're too
like they completely changed it. Like, but they don't know. I don't know if they no longer have. Oh no, okay, they still have it. They've got like a shit ton. All right. I've just been through. They like got a whole section they didn't have before. I'm like, whatever.
Right, I'll check warrior later.
It's
It's gonna be till we level up, so
I
it's
don't think I
we've
still
got some
have a
time.
link to the original. I made a copy.
How changed is it?
like
Someone send the link
pretty
in Discord
changed. I think.
because I made a copy.
I mean, they've like added something to my thing. Like, I think the other stuff the same.
You don't
but
want
it's like they sound cool.
Yeah, well, if we don't, yeah, like if we no longer have the old level ups, it's gonna be in, yeah.
No one with the link, please.
Sorry.
Link.
Yeah, I'm finding it.
Okay, cool.
Oh, Chris got it first. Oh, shit.
Thank you.
What
They put it down
warrior?
a Rogue. Now they have this whole new thing called Rogue Talents.
Yeah, it looks totally different. Let me look up. Did anything change with the actual Night Elves?
You're checking Night Elf School.
Dude, I get so many less ability
Figured I
scores.
might as well.
Wait, no, do I? No, that's the same. I think. Maybe it's... I don't know.
I should probably look
Hmm.
at base elves first. Make sure. Yeah, agility 2.
Like, I no longer get. I'm sure it used to have evasion because I remember looking at it and we were talking about it, Chris. But it no longer has evasion on it, for instance.
Interesting. You have I see no evasion's a rogue talent. I can see it.
Yeah, but I mean, Rogue Talent didn't used to exist. I used to get it by
think-
default.
Did elves have mystic senses before? Do you remember that?
Nope.
And like cunning action isn't on it anymore.
So that's
it's like
new.
as a thing. So I guess that's like a Rogue Talent thing now.
Okay. Well, you have a copy of the old version, Josh.
Nope.
I do.
Oh, Josh does.
Yeah,
Nope.
Can you share a copy of the old version?
Oh,
with us?
but
We'll
this
run off-
version sounds so
yeah.
much
Well,
cooler.
we'll run off that. We'll run off the old version for this session rather than.
Okay,
Oh, I could warrior talents. It's so cool.
Yeah, good Rogue Talent.
Okay, we'll run off the old version this session and then we'll update it between sessions.
Like-
Everyone can like update their character.
And now I have advantage and I have resistance against poison damage when I'm a walker. Ooh.
Yeah, we
Blade
would
Stone.
have advantage
Berserker.
on any magical items, lore, or spell checks. We use the Arcana skill.
Sorry,
And
what?
double proficiency to check if you're already proficient.
What's that? What's that for?
Mystic senses for night elves
Oh,
in the new
okay.
one.
Patch 2.5, pretty open.
Yeah.
Oh, and I get 1d6 for my Wolven form attack, not 1d4. Great.
Yeah,
Night
it says
elves
here, 2.5 released in March 2018, 2.51 on 30th May 2018. That's really recent. This is 2.52. Oh, it's so hot. So hot off the
Ooh.
presses.
Ooh.
They haven't even said when 2.52 came out.
Oh, dude, my fucking when I level up, my Wolven dice go higher like a monk's.
Right. Let's take a look at
And Daunt.
priestly stuff.
Alright, well, let's do this after the session or something. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to keep open the old version for reference here, and we can fix everything.
Yeah, does anyone have the that's the original one, Josh?
Yeah, the one Josh linked is the
Alright,
original.
I'll just
So
have
we'll
that
run
open.
off that just for this session.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just trying to check something and I was like, oh. This is different.
So
I'm
what
worried
was
they will have
happening?
completely changed priest and fucked
Yeah,
it
like
up.
the entire mana system is gone or something like that.
Yeah, man. We decided no more magic classes. We don't want to have these.
Just the way priest works is you just pray, and sometimes the DM.
The DM is like, okay, sure.
So, yeah, the interior is dark. Seeing mostly by the lights of silhouettes, you can make out smashed and deteriorated. What's the term? Not dissolved. And rotted furniture. The just around the place, there's rusted metal, like a helmet here, a goblet there. Just everything is kind of old and has not been touched for some time. This is on the ground level, which is round like the tower, the floor, an open plan with a stairwell from about a quarter of the way around on the left side that kind of spirals up the length of the wall to a door which leads to the level above, which is itself missing, and just you could just walk up. It's just it's a dark kind of hole in the ceiling.
The door's missing, or
yeah, the door's missing.
You mean like the level?
No. The level is there. The door is just missing. So you look up the stairs and can see at the top a dark hole that leads to the floor above. There's been a what else is against one wall is a fireplace with a kind of a flue that leads all the way up the exterior of the tower, made of stone. And yes, that's about what you see.
Is there dust on the ground?
Yes.
Can I investigate to see if there's footsteps?
You may
give me an investigation. What?
check.
Fuck me, right?
That is the most broken shit I've ever seen. You just straight up always add your spirit modifier to damage? What the fuck?
Wow.
Well,
but maybe you no longer have the advantage or something. Something to balance it out.
Yeah, but
hopefully.
like that was only a night. Like this is literally like you.
Yeah, so the light of the moon before was +1 with longbows in moonlight and advantage. So now instead it's +2 to AC and attack rolls for all things.
Yeah, and then you also gain spirit modifier always to damage.
Yep.
The fuck?
Crazy. Cool. Yeah. So investigation check.
Please.
But dude, when I die, I'm going to be an actual archer. Fucking
just your original to making this investigation check.
Spirits? Sorry, I forgot where investigation
is. Investigations in intelligence.
Yeah.
7.
You can deduce that the dust has not been disturbed any time in the last week or so. Beyond that, it would be too subtle to tell with a 7.
Yeah, I look at the others and say, well, it certainly looks abandoned, but I'm gonna make sure we're not alone. Anyone want to come with? That's it. And I start walking up second floor.
Silas, are you in Worgen form or human form?
Like always in Worgen form.
Always in Worgen form. Okay. As you move more into the center of the room, Silas.
Human form.
No, this is good. This is good. I think you can smell something.
If you say so. Okay.
Or there's some racist.
More into the center of the room, you feel the amulet around your neck begin to grow.
Check what that amulet is.
Cold against your.
Wait, do you have an amulet?
Cold against your skin. Or against your fur.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone notices it begin to give off a pallid, sort of light blue dimly illuminates the room in a small area around Silas.
I forgot we all had. Okay, does this feel like a good sheen or a bad sheen? Can I use it?
It's damage to your basic attack.
And while I do that, have we ever seen this necklace before?
Yeah,
we have. We looted it off the guys we killed on the road.
Oh, that necklace! Fuck! It's yeah.
Silas,
but I forgot what it does.
You are pondering the moral nature of the sheen.
Oh, can I do it now?
You are pondering the moral nature of the sheen when you're with perhaps less noise and drama than you would expect, the amulet around your neck explodes into pieces. They don't fly everywhere and sort of ping off the walls, but they break apart like a diagram in a science textbook. All the pieces neatly sort of separating themselves and hovering in the air all around you till you're kind of surrounded by a sparkling mesh of fragments of gemstone and like gold dust, all completely silently. And at the same time as this happens, the blue sheen that was being given off, that was contained within the amulet, expands in a kind of ghostly wave and plasters itself across the interior of the space, so until everything is kind of coated, except you guys, in a light blue kind of ghostly shimmer, just resting on the surface. And a few things stand out about this. Firstly, you guys are not glowing, and neither is any of the debris of detritus of furniture, things scattered around the room. Instead, in places where in days gone by the furniture would once have stood, is the sort of ghostly outline here of a table, chairs around it, cups and plates laid on it. The door, which has been sort of hanging off its hinges, is now, or in its place is now a sort of a pallid, translucent outline of a pair of double, sort of thick-set wooden, iron-banded double doors. And yeah, that is what's happened. So the room is sort of, there's a ghostly outline of the room as it once was.
Okay, I'm like, whoa, kind of like looked down in my neck. So it didn't hurt or anything.
No, and it was completely silent, just sort of with maybe the faintest whisper of a breeze. It all just sort of flew apart, and there's now just fragments of pride as are now hovering in the air around the room.
Look at Silas.
Kind of look back at you like, unexpected.
Right, your necklace do again?
It was meant to give me a shield when I activated it.
This doesn't seem part of the job description.
No, it didn't have anything about exploding in it.
So we can see like the ghostly furniture and shit, right? So I go up to like the table and I put my hand through it.
Your hand passes straight through it. I'll also note to you, Ian, that a sort of side effect of your necklace is that of the Prides, bearers of this amulet whistle a haunting tune, and those nearby attest to a distant cry of anguish between the notes.
Oh, I never knew this, Chris.
I think we brought it up at the time.
No. When you sent it to me, it never said that about it.
Yeah, but when we doing Jack service at Pride, I was like, yeah, and I brought it up and I read that out. It's in the VOD somewhere.
Jacko, you should.
What do you mean you're not watching the VOD?
Hey, Jacko, but in game I never knew this, but Jacko never told me. So, I never knew that. That's way more spooky. Way more.
So we can hear the anguish cry.
There is a faint sort of in the very distant. Jacko, when you play WoW with sound, right?
Sometimes.
When you're dead and you're kind of in the spirit realm.
Oh yeah.
There's like kind of spoopy sort of in the background. There's kind of like just the faintest on the very edge of senses of that sort of going on.
Okay, I look at the other two and say, on second thought, you would accompany me. Stairs, I would be very grateful.
I kind of nod. I'm like, that's a good idea.
Okay, hang on, here we go. I'll just post this for everyone, so everyone can kind of get in on the spook. I don't know if can I find this on Roll20? You guys can listen down. I guess I can find it on Roll20.
Alright, so I start walking up to the second floor.
Yeah, I follow you behind you. Oh god, now I'll take my my weapons out.
Can we see an edge of influence of the necklace? Like, is there like a bubble?
Everything that you can see inside the tower seems to be to have taken on this blue sheen. Outside, it's hard to be sure because you're looking through the blue sheen of the now closed ghostly door, so it's hard to be certain if anything outside is glowing or not.
It's so sad I never even got to use them.
Well, it might like reform, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Like after 30 seconds, if my theory is correct.
No, really, it was really crazy. Okay.
Oh, sweet! I did find it. Let's get that spook on.
Yeah, I'll head out. I'll have my weapons out.
Yeah, same. Shield in front, sword behind me.
I don't know where weapons are at the moment. I only have one silver sword. Where are my daggers? They're on my inventory.
You have 2 rapiers, I remember that.
Yeah, I have 2 rapiers.
Silvered ones.
I definitely have daggers, so like... Oh, here we go. 2 daggers. So I got a short, short sword and a dagger. Cool. Always very spoopy. Yeah,
Nice.
I got a dagger in one hand, short sword in the other. We head up the stairs.
Okay.
Okay, as we're walking up, I say, Alan, is this part of the spirit world? Do you know anything about
it? No knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us religion. This is something is going to happen before you guys really make it very far up the stairs, but let's
spoilers. You going ahead, right, Jacob?
Well, I don't want you guys to get in your head the idea that you're almost at the next floor. But,
well, I mean, I have said it like 3 times.
7.
Yeah.
7 bats.
Okay, because this is triggered by movement. It's not specifically yours, so you can be, at the foot of or part of the way up the stairs. But as Silas sort of steps from his position in the center of the room, you disturb some of the sort of gold dust and gem fragments floating in the air around you, and they swirl and coalesce, and the cloud of dust from your necklace begins to form shapes. It actually forms humanoid figures sitting at the table, one standing over by the ghostly outline of a fire, and the dust flies together, forming these shapes, and then sort of coalesces and changes. So these figures are actually they don't seem to be made up of metal and gem fragments, nor do they have the same ghostly pallidness of the inanimate objects around the room. They seem to be much more, not entirely present. They're still slightly translucent. You can see through them, but they have color to them. You can make out much more detail about them. They are humans to a man, armored, although like some, one sitting at the table, his shield and his spear, resting up against the wall next to him. They're not battle ready, but they are armored and their weapons are nearby. There are a total of 5 of them in the room, and they wear the heraldry of the kingdom of Lordaeron, which existed here before the Scourge came and wiped it all out.
Okay. The
illusions are moving, and they are interacting with each other, but there's only a visual component to this. There's no sound. So although you can see 2 of them sitting at the table, one of them taking a drink from a swig from an ethereal mug, and they're talking to each other, you can see their lips moving. There's no, it's all completely silent. There's no sound to any of this.
Okay.
I'll stop moving and kind of watch it for a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Talia, do you want to still go up the stairs, or?
No, I mean, this definitely paused.
Okay.
I'll like slowly raise my sword and like tap it against my shield to create a noise to see if they respond.
Okay, yeah. They do not respond. Silas and Shallan, just to confirm, you do like the sound for you guys is all still normal. You hear the kind of tink of Talia's tap sword on shield, but no, the figures continue to play out their narrative, seemingly completely oblivious of your presence.
Yeah, I mean, I'll spend like a couple minutes watching if nothing changes.
After like a minute. Yeah, if you guys make them.
Okay, after about 30 seconds, can I get perception checks from everyone?
Mm-hmm. You can indeed, Chrissy boy.
Chrissy boy.
Beautiful. Okay, perception not my strong point. You have other people to do that.
Do I? But your perception is better now.
Did I?
What you did? I thought it was like +2, +4, +6.
I don't know why I thought. I think it's
22.
Okay. So Shallan, you notice first, and then a few seconds later, Silas as well.
Yeah, I don't know why it's 4.
The air in the space begins to take on a distinct chill. You notice it's like a cold breeze washes across you, Shallan, just ever so slightly chilling you. And then by the time Silas is noticing it, it's actually it's you can really feel the temperature dropping
Because I had my fur.
because you had your fur. And of course,
Yeah.
Talia has
I'm
late mail.
yeah.
Has
Well,
fur,
I
fucking hairy legs, doesn't shave, disgusting. I see.
So ignorant, I go up to the second floor.
Okay, you head up to the second floor. The door is the ghostly door is closed, but you walk straight through it, unable to even interact with it.
Can I peek through it with my head?
Yeah, you can just stick your head through. The second floor, while some of the wooden interior walls have collapsed, which is convenient because it allows you to sort of see through everything and see the whole layout at once. Nice. It was once a sort of the barracks level of this tower. It was divided up, so partitioned up by interior wooden walls, and there are bunks, soldiers standing around, chests. So it's occupied by more men, probably about a company of 20 or so, similar to the men you saw below. Some of them resting, some of them sort of hanging around chatting. Just in various states of relaxation, basically, or at least as relaxed as soldiers.
Do they make any noise?
No noise whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah, I pull my head back out and look down and say, "A similar scene up here," and move through the door. Go to.
Okay. At this point, roughly the same time, Talia, as you step up into that through that door into the second level, the chill in the air takes on a much sharper tone. Everyone feels it at this point. All three of you feel a distinct chill run up your spines as the air cools to noticeably cold level. All of you can see your breath in the air. And notably, the ethereal, illusory figures, not ethereal, but illusory figures standing around all seem to notice this too at their point in history and respond to it. There's Talia, the men around you sort of look at each other with puzzlement, and there's a similar reaction downstairs as well. The ethereal fire in the hearth goes out, and everyone just kind of shares nervous, worried glances.
Alright, I share nervous, worried glance with Talia.
Talia's upstairs, but you can share one with Shallan if you want.
She's not at the door.
And she steps through it. She's on the floor above now.
Okay, I'll share.
But I can feel her glance.
Yeah.
I kind of call out, Talia, you right up there?
I believe so.
Do I have? Let's think.
I'll call back. When I came in through the door, something changed. Maybe I triggered something?
So, I guess I want to see. Is there any way? Can I tell? Are these spirits, or are we kind of seeing like into the past? So they're not the same, right? Like, could I, via speak with the dead, interact with these that people were seeing, or do I think that it's something like else entirely, like a vision, where you wouldn't?
It'd be cool to try.
You can roll religion, but I think the information you're trying to gather is probably best served by insight. So you can roll religion if you like, but you'll get more useful information out of insight.
You roll
I'd rather do
both.
insight anyway, so
Sure.
because that's something I'm good at. 23.
Okay, yeah, you get a strong feeling that the amulet that Silas was wearing is in some way giving you a vision through time, a vision of the past. There doesn't seem to be any interaction between yourself and the figures here.
Okay.
They don't sort of fit the standard behaviors of ghosts. They, apart from like a slight translucence to them, you can sort of see, what's the walls and stuff through them. They look very much alive. Their skin is the right color. They're healthy. They just seem like normal people living their lives. Although right now a little bit spooked.
Yeah. Okay.
And Shallan and Silas. Okay, firstly, so Talia, you just called back downstairs, right?
No.
You said something like
yeah.
Oh yeah, so I called back.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So does anyone respond to that, or? And while you're responding to that, if you decide to, can Silas and Shallan give me perception checks, please?
Ooh. Get rid of all the bad rolls,
Yeah, I do respond and say, yeah, something's down here as well. Something's happening down here as well. And then I'll actually start to make my way up the stairs after.
Yeah, I'll follow. Don't want to be down by
Okay,
myself.
as you turn to head towards the stairs, Shallan, you notice that the ghostly ethereal door, the main door to the tower, is beginning to, in its own spiritual sense, rhyme over with frost, as though it was sort of freezing from the center outwards.
Say, oh, never mind. Come down here. Something's happening at the door.
Okay.
Okay.
I at least like go back through the door.
Yeah, and like a couple of steps down the stairs, you've got a clear view of what's happening. Okay, so yeah, all of you looking at the door can see this happening. There's a circle of icy frost which is spreading out over it, causing it to become, as it sort of freezes over, more opaque than it was originally, just because it's more of a kind of textured surface now. And after about 10 seconds or so, when the spreading frost reaches the edge of the door, the entire thing, these sort of twin wooden thick double doors, probably 10 feet high, banded with iron, just shatter and explode inwards. Chunks probably about the size of a fist to the size of a head, rolling across the floor. Some of them pass harmlessly through Shallan and Silas, and like some of the bigger chunks, where they stop rolling, the sort of the ghostly counterpart settles exactly on top of where
an actual
piece of wood is lying around. Just some of the bigger ones, not all of them, but like a couple of large chunks. And standing in the doorway is Silas.
Silas from the future, or is the past?
He was the Lich King all along.
Another human. And it's an interesting choice of words that Josh just used, because the human standing in the doorway is tall, blonde, dressed in ornate, thick plate mail, with a light blue glow to it, skull motif, lined with heavy fur, and a cape over his shoulders. And stretched out in front of him, pointing towards the exact spot on the door from which the frost had radiated on the other side. He's holding a wicked, serrated rune blade.
Wicked is in the cool kind. Like,
wicked is in the cool, super cool. Itself glowing blue and rhymed with frost.
Do we recognize this, like, from lore, from everything of like who this is.
Have we played
I know
Warcraft 3?
personally, but I'm assuming
you don't need a history degree in the universe of Warcraft to know that this is a vision of Prince Arthas.
Okay, but in real life,
I definitely let out a by the light of a loon.
Okay, so
no, but who was I don't really.
Arthas was a.
When this was the kingdom of Lordaeron, the king was King Menethil, Taranas Menethil, and his son was Arthas, and his son was basically trained by Uther, and he was going to become like the sickest paladin ever.
Wait, is he still alive?
No, you remember you were pretending to go to his tomb a while ago.
Oh yeah.
So Arthas was, to cut a long story really short, basically turned evil, went to Northrend, merged his soul with an evil lich who was once a shaman in Draenor called Ner'zhul, claimed a sword called Frostmourne, killed his companion Muradin Bronzebeard, and then came home, murdered his father, and basically overran the kingdom of Lordaeron. Like that was the end of the kingdom of Lordaeron.
Right, and then he started like the Scourge or some shit.
Yes. Well, the Scourge already existed prior to him, but he took control of the Scourge. He became the Lich King, the master of the Scourge.
Okay. Who taught him how to do all this bad shit?
It was mostly, I mean, so the Lich King is Arthas and Ner'zhul souls merged into one.
How do you know how to like merge their souls and stuff?
Yeah.
How do you know how to do that and everything?
It just sort of happened when he ascended.
It's a magic of the helmets.
Like, where did he know where to frozen zone and
everything?
Frostmourne
whispered to him or something, or.
And I think Kel'Thuzad also.
What turned him
back? Tempted to take Frostmourne to use its power again.
Yeah, so Frostmourne is cursed.
Yeah.
So the moment
he went to Northrend to fight the Scourge, right?
Yeah. Well, no, he went to Northrend to follow Mal'Ganis.
What about killing Kel'Thuzad? I see something about that.
Kel'Thuzad was like a spirit at that point. Was he? Because so Arthas killed Kel'Thuzad, and Kel'Thuzad was the creator of the plague, and then he was supposed to resurrect Kel'Thuzad, ordered by the Scourge, that at that point were controlled by the Burning Legion.
Yeah. So basically, Arthas, when the Scourge had spread through Stratholme, he culled the entire city, killed the population to try and prevent the Scourge spreading. At the end, he confronted Mal'Ganis, who was like a commander, he's a Dreadlord commander of the Burning Legion. Mal'Ganis fled to Northrend. Arthas followed him. In a sort of legendary cave in Dragonblight in Northrend, he discovered Frostmourne, took it, was all cursed by its power, and then traveled to the Frozen Throne, had his soul merged with Ner'zhul, came back, killed his father in a famous cutscene, and then basically that was the end of the Kingdom of Lordaeron. Everyone,
is he dead now?
Arthas at this point is dead. Yes.
But is there a new
Lich King?
heroes
of
there is no new Lich King. No one knows.
No one knows.
Bolvar died that day.
Who?
No one.
Bolvar Full Dragon died that day. Definitely isn't the new Lich King.
Why did he die?
Died fighting.
By Arthas.
Who killed Arthas?
Basically, it's kind of like there must always be a captain for the ship.
But nobody knows. Bolvar told everyone not to tell, so nobody knows.
Wait,
because no one would tell anyone.
So, a couple of heroes in Tyrion Fordring.
A couple of boys. Tyrion totally didn't spend 90% of the boss.
So Bolvar's the new Lich King.
Seriously, worthless mother.
But we don't know
this. As far as the world knows, there is no Lich King. Arthas was defeated.
But wait, is Bolvar like a normal guy, or was he like missing?
Bolvar crazy. Bolvar like died to plague, but then was resurrected by the fires of the Alexstrasza, the Lifebinder, and then captured by Arthas, and then tortured, and then rescued when Arthas was defeated. But like there had to be a new Lich King, so he became the new Lich King.
Because he was already fucked up.
But is he like the good like?
Yeah, he's trying to control the Scourge to not like take over the world.
Okay. He's a good guy.
So far he's able to, but he's kind of going crazy, I think.
He's a little sort of chaotic neutral.
But he's currently working. Like, cool. Then how come he hasn't stopped doing bad shit?
Yes.
Has he? Oh.
Yeah.
So no, but they were still Scourge, right?
Not all of it directly under his control. Like most specifically would be the Forsaken.
Forsaken weren't part of.
No, they were.
Well, they're undead, but
They
like,
were.
they're an example of undead. So I guess, yeah, if you want to define undead under the Lich King's control as Scourge, then yes, he controls all the Scourge.
And they didn't do anything bad anymore.
The Plague Lands currently are not Scourge.
And then where are the Scourge currently?
Mostly in Northland.
Mostly in Northrend, yeah.
But they're not doing bad shit?
No.
Okay.
There's not many things alive in Northrend.
Yeah, we blitz that shit.
Okay.
Where is Northrend on the map again, by the way?
If you have this map.
Go look at the big old global map.
For some reason, I thought it would be on this map.
No, it's the northern continent.
Far away.
Oh, right.
It's in the north. Good name. Okay, and this is Arthas. Oh, so I'm like, oh shit! Wait, do I know all of that we talked about? That's all common knowledge. For the Bolvar shit.
You know the story, not the Bolvar shit. You know the Lich King was defeated by Tyrion Fordring. You know that, yeah, and you know basically the story of Arthas and the story of the fall of Lordaeron.
How long ago was this?
Let's consult the unofficial timeline. Let's see. So we decided that the year currently is about 32-ish, 32, 33, and transform. World of Warcraft, Third War, Frozen Throne, Rise of the Lich King, First Brewfest, what?
Important shit.
Betrayer, Ascended Ends.
About like 12 years or something?
10 years ago? 12 years? 11?
Oh wow, that's really recent. Like, holy shit, that's recent.
Yeah. As well as like a new threat every year or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Frozen Throne ends year 22, so it's like 33, 34 now. So about 12 years ago. And Arthas was defeated 5-ish years ago.
Yeah, not go.
Okay, so I
really feel like more time should have passed on the law, but Blizzard.
yeah.
12 years.
I say, I have one question. Are we in danger of this? I kind of like back
or
back.
You can feel the cold, which implies it has some kind of effect.
Yes. Here the magic will also reach us.
Mm-hmm.
So Arthas strides across the threshold.
Wait, okay, I say Shalom.
You got a 23.
Yeah.
The magic 8-ball says it's anyone's guess.
Yeah. That's what I. That's what I.
Okay, I guess I'm just like standing there. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I don't understand and see what's gonna happen.
Okay. I don't know how that necklace is connected to this.
Dude, maybe that guy was Arthas.
But
you got him battle loot in that case.
Is it possible that the necklace was on one of the people here that probably Arthas turned?
Who knows? Your guess is good in mine. It seems plausible.
Yeah,
I mean, the necklace has been here. It's been here before, right? The necklace, it's implying at least.
I would assume so, or somehow is connected to this place,
yeah,
or to the Lich King, or something.
Also, yeah.
There's a lot of ores.
What was the name of the necklace?
We have the name listed down. Right?
The Magnum Opus.
Are these someone's names, Chris? Pydaz, Exovix,
Yes.
necklace. Is Pydaz the name of the necklace?
The name of the necklace. Zavarick was the guy who created it.
Never heard of that guy.
Was he evil? Is this a trap?
Have you ever heard of him?
I wonder if it was ever explained at the law who he was. Otherwise, I'm gonna make it up. Who is Zavarick?
Wait, but this might.
Zavarick is a level 55 satyr found at Jadefire Run in northwestern Felwood. He is the leader of the Jadefire Satyrs, and his minions feed from the fell corruption of local creatures. Another Jadefire Satyr is Zavathras cultivates a corrupted moonwell, blah, 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 blah. His namesake of... okay, Zaverick carries a flute carved from an ancient protector. His namesake was Zaverick.
What does it mean carved from an ancient protector?
It's a tree. It's a big tree.
Oh. Okay.
Which refers to the flute made from the ancient protector.
Wait, it's a fucking flute?
No, it's a reference to the flute.
Oh,
Flute
okay.
is Zaverick. So, okay, so a magnum opus is like, if you're like, if you're exactly. If you're like a craftsman or something, magnum opus is the greatest thing you produce in your life. So let's fucking fuck this Sasso bullshit. I say he's like some bigger dick dude than he actually is. So Zaverick was.
Pride is also in Diablo, right? So this might have reaching consequences for the multiverse.
The multiverse is damaged. When we do our Diablo campaign after this one, we gotta remember what lore changes we've made. So Zaverick was a satyr, who was like a fell corrupted creature of the wood in Fellwood, who worked with Zavathras to corrupt. Well, this is actually the lore, to corrupt a moonwell when Fellwood became Fellwood, as opposed to
What's a moonwell?
It was before. This is the sort of thing the Night Elves are all about.
It's like a spirit fountain.
Okay.
It's like blessed water and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a fountain of eternal moon.
Fountain.
That's my.
It's where Night Elves draw their power from and shit. Or like can. It's very sacred to them and stuff. And this was like his. Yeah, this was he crafted this necklace, or this amulet out of gold and sapphires, in some arcane ritual, and when he was defeated, it was like taken from him, and now it's passed from person to person until it ended up in the hands of the dude what you slayed, whom you loosed it from. But that's the origins of it.
Sure.
I don't know how you'd know that, but let's just say you do.
Yeah, but I was Zaverick, my old mate.
So,
Best friend in school.
Arthas
Grew apart, sadly.
steps across the threshold, flanked by a trio of ghouls, who then gain attack bonus against them. Wait, no, it's not Pathfinder. No, flanked by a trio of ghouls who seem to be with him. As the door had exploded, all the men that were on the ground floor sort of have jumped to their feet, toppling their furniture. They've grabbed their weapons, and now they're sort of standing where they were in a sort of loose semicircle around the room, all with weapons raised, sort of confusion and puzzlement on their face. They've just seen they've seen their prince walk in, but he's got undead with him. All of them seem wary, but none of them immediately attack, giving Arthas the initiative to step forwards, raising Frostborn high above his head towards one of them. Man raises his shield as the sword cleaves down towards him, and is just completely cloven in two. The sword bites through the shield, through the man's armor, straight through him, and then the tip of it digs an inch or so into the floor.
It's too big a level difference.
An inch or so into the floor, leaving a notch which, like, if investigated closely, you can see is actually there today in the stone. At this, the other men cry out silently because you can't hear anything, and rush to the attack. Arthas's ghouls step forwards and more come in the doorway behind him. As the battle begins to unfold and the humans begin to fall one by one, their souls claimed by Frostmourne, more men begin rushing down the stairs, some of them passing through Talia. Are any of you taking any action, or are you just kind of all standing where you are watching?
I say I'll be right back and run upstairs. See if there's like a commander or whatever.
I gotta warn them.
I just want to see what's up.
Sure. Okay. There's everyone in the floor above. Like, you can't hear anything of the vision, but clearly in the past, quite a lot of noise was generated because everyone is rushing to arms. People are running about, hastily donning helmets, grabbing swords and shields, heading towards the stairs. From the stairs heading up, the commander you were searching for is coming down from what was presumably his quarters or office in the top floor of the tower. He's dressed in plate mail. He's got the same, although slightly more ornate tabard of Lordaeron. He has his helmet on. He's carrying a large two-handed sword. He's communicating with his men. He seems to be barking orders. They're responding all completely silently. And meanwhile, more and more men are rushing down the stairs to the slaughter below, which, as Shallan and Silas watch, is just a completely one-sided bloodbath. Sometimes a ghoul is cut down, but the men are vastly outnumbered, and Arthas is just Darth Vader against a corridor of rebel troops. It's just it's completely one-sided. Occasionally one of the you see one of them swing a mace or a sword and hit Arthas on the armor, and their sword just, as they hit him, just shatters to ice, kind of like it was a White Walker. It's almost like George R. R. Martin stole his lore from somewhere. So yeah, the men are rapidly being slaughtered.
Poor guys.
So the scene continues to unfold. Obviously,
I'm kind of watching that. This is what Arthas is doing, but I'm also trying to keep an eye on to see if anyone escapes. Right, if they flee.
Okay, yeah. You keep it. It doesn't look like anyone's going to manage, but you're keeping an eye to see if anyone does make it away. Yeah. The scene continues to unfold over a couple of minutes.
And I
eventually. Oh yeah, go on.
Can I run it? Or no, well, at this point there's no point running really, but can I go into the commander's office and see if there's some spiritly documents being burned or something?
There's a paper shredder, and they're feeding in fucking documents.
Nervous secretary just going through boxes, burning them all.
No, the office is empty. Although, I guess one thing you would notice about it is that most of the stuff in here is purely ethereal, maps on tables, things hanging from walls. The room in present time is basically bare, apart from just a few scraps of things around.
So no chest with sick loot in it?
Yeah, the chandelier from the ceiling, the chest is all just purely ethereal. You can just stick your hand straight through it, none of it continues to exist. So eventually, the commander rallies his troops. And instead of feeding them one by one into the meat grinder below, sort of forms a barricade and attempts to hold the second floor. Arthas, some of the ghouls rush up the stairs and are fended off handily before Arthas himself slowly and dramatically climbs the stairs, with a single blow from Frostmorn, swipes all the defenses aside, and leads his undead minions into the barracks level, where the slaughter is basically concluded over the next sort of couple of minutes. The commander falling almost immediately, leading his troops to the front, and then the last one cowering in a corner, seemingly pleading for his life, is just ruthlessly cut down. You noticed no one escape, Shallan. You were watching for it.
Yeah.
There seemed to have been no survivors.
Shite.
Oh.
And then the deed completed. Arthas, as if without even checking upstairs, instinctively sensing that all life has been extinguished, raises a few of the more intact bodies as ghouls to replenish his troops, and then leads them all down and out of the front door of the tower.
Right.
Leaving the three of you standing in places.
I'm it's a good thing we don't have to deal with him anymore.
And as he leaves, the chill recedes from the air. Your breath stops forming fog in front of you, and the mist of gem dust and gold flies back together, coalescing in a band around Silas's neck, which reforms into the Pridaz necklace or amulet. seemingly completely intact, and there's like a briefest pallid blue glow to it as it reforms before the glow dies, and it is to all external examination as it was earlier before you entered the tower.
Well, that was interesting. I kind of looked down at the necklace with a bit more skepticism. Like, anybody really know why or how that could have happened?
Well, it seems to be the magic of the.
Definitely, yeah. I agree
But
with
he, interesting how he didn't do it consciously. So
yes, yeah.
if we do manage to figure out how that works, it could be extremely useful in the future. But for
I focus on making it do it again, Chris.
now, wait. Okay, well, now you do that and say. For now, I am going to check outside to see if this raised any alarms.
Some mental willpower.
He begins to freeze on the inside and slowly
Delicious, like a big
explodes.
wolf popsicle.
So yeah, go check outside real quick to see if anybody saw this.
Noticed, yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a perception check.
I'll do like walk around, like.
Sure. Okay, in that case, you can give me investigation. That's
More
perception.
perception, but
Either is fine. Sure. The night seems just as dark and still as it was earlier. The vision, whatever it was, illusion seems to have passed completely without trace. The world is unchanged.
right.
Well, that's a good way to give yourself nightmares before we get to sleep. But
Yeah, that's.
should we just? I guess. I'm really still confused about why it would happen here. Again, or how the necklace is connected to it. It makes me a bit worried about continue wearing it while we go through these lands. But
Well, next time it does happen, we should make sure nobody on the outside see occurring.
yeah.
I hope that's how.
I mean, when you do a long rest whether to do a tuning sync, I didn't get any sense. Do I get sense of any of this kind of weird shit?
No.
No. So it's not something I believe I can control in any way. So I guess we just live with it. I feel like if we throw an amulet is found, it could pose, it's a clue to where we are. They could follow us from it. I guess it would be possible to try to destroy it, but I don't know, it might also perhaps show us something useful.
So you keep wearing it, but understand if too dangerous.
I'm kind of worried more what happened if I was human. Chris was like, "Oh, you all in form." I'm like, "Fine." Just definitely stay all.